Hello everyone and welcome to this week's Wednesday Words on Wednesday the 10th of December. I'm Debs Barrett from Adapt Counselling. This week I'm inspired by author Peg Blackstone, who wrote a wonderful book entitled Things They Never Told Me in Therapy School. And as a result of reading that book, this week's topic is going to be called Never Give Up. And you will find out why as we go on through this video. Now, Peg Blackstone wrote this book back in 1991, and she believed that all humans are tough and smart and doing the best we know how. And I couldn't agree with her more, in that serious problems can have surprising solutions. Throughout her wonderful book, Blackstone encourages therapists to be real, to cut down on psychological jargon, and most importantly, to be ourselves. Now, our counselling ethics tells us we need to be boundaried about sharing personal information. Why would clients want to know anything about their therapist anyhow? It's a different relationship to a friendship. Yes, of course it is. But in my opinion, it's all about honesty, integrity, and genuineness. If the information being shared is coming from the correct motivation with the aim of helping you, the client, i.e. me being living proof of what I'm saying, why on earth hold back? In that vein, this evening, or today rather, I would like to share something deeply personal with you. Now, those who know me already will no doubt be familiar with this story, but it is one thing that I would like to bring you that demonstrates hope, resilience, and also the longevity that I aim to bring to my clients. Now, have you ever noticed that life has a habit of presenting us with a rich tapestry of challenges, whether it be relational, emotional, or physical? None so for me back in August 2009. Yes, I appreciate it was before some of you were born. But the possibility of death back then, August 2009, stared me right in the face. To say I was terrified was an understatement. I was petrified, and some. In fact, I had not had an easy ride up until that point, but this certainly took the biscuit. As I sat in the consultant's office, I could feel my heart thumping in my chest. Nervously, I waited to hear the diagnosis, and the words absolutely did not feel real as they left his lips. Brain tumour. I reeled from the shock, and everything around me appeared to be in a hazy fog. I did hear what he was saying, but I couldn't really take it in. "Don't worry," he glibly explained. "Acoustic neuromas are the best kind of tumour to have, with a great survival rate." I really couldn't take in what he was saying. I knew I'd been ill for the previous 3 years, but why had everybody kept brushing me off? If I'd have been listened to earlier, it could have been dealt with by laser. But as it turned out, 12 hours rather, 12 years, my goodness. 12 hours of invasive surgery was required. The night before surgery was the loneliest I have ever felt in my life. I had asked all my friends to message me after 8 p.m. since I knew I wouldn't be able to sleep. I had even written letters to my family that they would find in my bag if I didn't make it. You had to sign danger of death on that consent form. Just after 8 p.m. the messages started arriving. It was honestly those messages, coupled with my own Christian faith, that kept me going. I'll spare you the gory details of the operation itself. I was told beforehand that I would lose the hearing in my right ear. At the time, I was fine with that idea. I had another ear anyhow. Little did I know what a huge change that would make to me after the operation. For example, did you know that you need 2 ears to tell the direction of sound? If my mobile phone rings and I do not know where it is, there is absolutely no way I can find it. There is also no more enjoyable experience from surround sound cinema. It all comes in just as one complete noise. But hey, at least I'm alive. Who would have known I was allergic to the dexamethasone, the steroid injection they give you to reduce the brain swelling after such an operation? It caused me to have psychosis. This psychotic experience felt even worse than the operation itself. It was so utterly terrifying. I remember thinking that everyone in the hospital was out to kill me, and I truly believed it. I grabbed hold of a doctor's arm one morning during ward rounds, and I remember saying, "You've got to get me out of here." I can't remember what he said, but the next thing that happened was that a psychiatrist appeared at my bedside. She was a truly lovely lady, and I explained my terrors. She prescribed olanzapine, an antipsychotic medication. Once the olanzapine kicked in, my next challenge was to learn to walk again. I had a Zimmer frame, one of these 3-legged ones, with a bag in the middle of it. Because of the loss of my nerve for hearing, my balance was severely affected. As I began to feel better mentally, each day I began to set mini goals, to take more steps. I began with pigeon steps, simply putting one foot in front of the other, which is quite a parallel to life sometimes, don't you think? Up and down the ward I went. Then I got really brave and I decided to try the stairs between wards. A bit foolhardy, but I didn't fall, I was okay. Day after day, week after week, I could feel myself becoming stronger. I was out of pain, which was such a relief. No more headache. My world, however, had irrevocably changed. Everything sounded strange. I had a droopy face and wobbly feet. Oh, and I forgot to mention that I had a tracheotomy immediately prior to the operation. My surgeon must have been very good at sewing because there's a neat little scar just here. Now, for those of you who don't know, a tracheotomy is where a hole is cut in your air pipe. I was tube fed for a while after the op. Then the speech therapist came to see me, and I was given some facial physio I had to do every day twice a day in front of the mirror. I managed pretty well with this over time, although about a third of my face still remains numb, a bit like when you've had an injection at the dentist prior to a filling. I also cannot open my mouth very wide. Some may think this is a good thing, but it's not very helpful when I visit the dentist, who sits on my right hand side and wears a mask when he speaks. Now, I'd like to give a huge shout out to the wonderful medical teams who looked after me at Wessex Neurological Unit in Southampton, and who do this type of work day in, day out, saving many lives and giving people a future. This was all done under our National Health Service. As you can see, I definitely got my money's worth. As I said at the start of this video, life has a habit of presenting us with all with challenges. But back in 2009, I could not see a future. I was so scared, with such a sense of powerlessness. However, somewhere deep down inside, I have always had a fighting spirit, and I fought back with everything I had. Of course, I didn't do this alone. I had friends, family, and my faith to sustain me. But I needed to believe in myself and not give up. One of the best things coming out of my experience has been that it gave me a greater insight into mental health and people, especially who suffered psychotic episodes similar to the one that I've been through. It actually kindled my desire to train as a counsellor. And my message to you today is that when you feel like giving up, don't. Keep fighting the fight. As Peg Blackstone says, we are tough, strong, and doing the best we know how. Look after yourselves, and I look forward to speaking to you again next week. Take care now. Bye-bye.